Right, hello. We are going to be calling Rog again. Let's see if we can get him to answer. Okay. First, we'll call on Discord. Which has no sound, so we don't get to hear anything. But that's okay. Currently, nothing is happening. Okay, answered there. Go back to the stream room. Pop that out. Right. Then what we need to do is call on. There he is. Hello?
Good morning. On the
Good
camera
morning.
going. It is morning. People better stop calling me at 5.
What?
I don't know.
What did you say?
I said, hello, people got to stop calling me so early. Somebody called
Oh,
me
so
at 5.
you're already awake.
Yeah, I was trying to go back to sleep. I was like, well, maybe I can squeeze in 5 seconds of winking here.
The other direction.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there you go.
So I was just slamming my eyes shut for a couple hours. Right. Headlines? I don't know.
I have to look at them first. And then I'll start. Not really a lot of happy things going on, it looks like.
Okay. No happiness. No happiness anywhere. I'm again for the millionth day in a row. No happiness. Let me look presentable for the camera. You got me on camera now?
I have you on camera now. I can take you off camera. I can go on camera. It's me. I'm on camera now. Let's see.
We're in bed.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just more stuff about the earthquake and I guess there's stuff about speed skating.
Well, you're supposed to announce your headlines.
No,
Not just
I'm
say-
looking because I don't know what. I can't just announce anything because then you complain about being depressing.
No, complain about me. Don't worry about me complaining. Holy crap. That's your problem. We'll never get through anything.
Okay, well, I'll just read you the first.
But
I'll keep the first two big things and then I'll choose something from like culture and media because that's what I'm good
okay,
at.
I'll read my first. Shall I read my headline first?
No, I'll read my headline first. All right, let me
All right.
do this real quick. Okay, and today in the news we have somebody has been found to be a slave in a Yad City camp for a long time. A 70-year-old. Oh wait, actually, okay. Now your headline.
Jack Smith subpoenas Mike Pence.
A 70-year-old was found in the wreckage after the earthquake, where he was under rubble for more than 5 days.
Chinese balloon was searching for intelligence signals. Good luck in this country.
And finally, Pim Lammers was sent death threats for his full advertisement for the Children's Book Week as a poem writer.
Oh, okay. Leave
Oh,
no
right.
insight.
On my news today, we have, according to the Public Prosecution Service, a woman who was taken back by the Netherlands from an IS camp in Syria had a Yazidi woman as a slave. This is the first time that someone in the Netherlands has been tried for a crime against Yazidis as ethnic and religious minority in northern Iraq. The suspect was picked up by the Netherlands from a prison camp in Syria last November, together with 11 other women and their 28 children. They were arrested after arrival and are suspected of committing terrorist crimes because, according to the OM, they were suspected members of the Islamic State. The court in Rotterdam ruled in May last year that women had to be brought to the Netherlands quickly, otherwise their criminal case would be terminated. That's all I have to say. What do you think about that? Slavery in the Islamic in Syria.
Yeah, but it was part of their culture, their religion, right?
Yeah.
So, are they claiming religious freedom? Is there such a thing there?
For religious freedom in the Netherlands?
Yeah.
Yes. We have all the same rights America has.
0? Okay.
Yeah. We have more rights. I would argue we have more rights than America has, but that. Yeah.
You get to pretend you have more rights than America. Okay, got
no,
it.
It's not pretending.
Yes, it is. It is pretending. Until the government takes them away, they are privileges. And you want to call them rights? Go ahead. Have a good time. Okay. So I don't know. Well. Good luck to Netherlands. They found themselves a slave. They got themselves a cause, right? We're advancing. Well,
it's your turn.
Jack Smith finally subpoenaed Mike Pence, the guy who was going to get hung during the riots. The guy who has all kinds of evidence. The guy who's just sitting around going, I want to be president next time. He's been subpoenaed by Jack Smith. The subpoena to Pence is part of an investigation with Special Counsel Jack Smith, who was served in recent days, according to the person who spoke to the Associated Press on the condition of anonymity Thursday. Pence considers launching a 2024 presidential bid against Trump, the guy who tried to have him hanged, or whatever they were going to do with him. So this Mike Pence is going to have to give some kind of disposition or pretend he didn't know anything, which is absurd. But again, you can only be around despotism for so long before you start to take it for granted. Next story, unless you have a comment.
No, I think that's pretty expected of governments to do that kind of stuff. Unfortunately, that is how that works. When people get power, they want to use it there.
Well, this is more or less the slow snail's pace of justice. People want instant justice, and they're like, but again, it's even going slower than we even expected. If you ask me, it's been over 2 years. Now they're interviewing Mike Pence. Oh, okay, we got around to that now.
Yeah, in earthquake news, we have a group of 162 aid workers from the Netherlands left this morning from Schiphol to Gaziantep in order to help construction workers and rescue people contribute in cleanup efforts and, of course, rescue. They've taken the flight with relief supplies on board. Interesting enough, the company has Turkish roots and operates free of charge to help with the Turkish earthquake crisis. After 96 hours, in the Turkish province of Hatay, a little girl called Sela was rescued, together with her mother, father, brother, and uncle, at only 1.5 years old. A 30-year-old man was also rescued from the rubble 101 hours in one of the hardest-hit provinces. Most people cannot survive water with about 3 days. And this is now the 5th day since the earthquake.
Yeah. What are the temperatures like?
I don't have information on the weather.
Well, we can just look up.
Yeah, well, I can't do that right now. It's too much extra stuff. You could look it up and then tell me, because I'm currently reporting on the story here, where it looks like when it comes to Syria, Assad has visited Aleppo since the earthquake.
Mm-hmm.
President of Syria, for those who don't know.
The president of Syria?
Yeah. Aleppo is in government territory, but a large part of the disaster area is actually under the control of the rebels. So it's very hard to get relief supplies in because it's also in political turmoil.
Freezing temperatures, wintry weather threatens Turkey quake victims trapped in rubble, so the weather sucks too. In China balloon news, the China balloon shot down by the U.S. was equipped to detect and collect, which is a new word, I just admitted. Collect intelligence signals as part of a huge military-linked satellite aerial surveillance program that targeted more than 40 countries, which seems like a normal thing for a superpower to do. Fly shit over other countries, collecting intelligence, finding where stuff is. This is a thing we've been doing ever since we've been launching satellites, balloons, planes. In fact, this week is the, 1962, so it was 61 years ago, Francis Gary Powers was released from Russia for flying a U-2 spy plane. He was there for 2 years, being held as a spy, and he was released as part of a prisoner exchange. So there's a coincidence for you. Not a big coincidence.
Yeah, there seems to always be things flying in the sky over the U.S. I always hear about it. I know people were talking about the famous hoax that there was a kid in a balloon.
Oh, the balloon boy.
Balloon boy,
yeah,
yes.
I remember there was no boy. It was just a balloon with nobody in it. But we had us all panicking. I think they murdered that entire family and buried them in the desert. Just kidding. they wanted to. It was in Colorado, so.
Because a kid was inside of a balloon.
Yeah.
They lied about a kid being inside a balloon, and then they made, I think it was like a week-long story or something, right? They're trying to get this balloon or something. It was.
And of course, everybody was taking sides. The United States, our number one export is paranoia. We have so much of it. It's get it all over everybody else. This day in history.
Wait, no, I have a thing.
Okay.
In Dutch culture and in media news, Pim Lammers, who is infamous for writing a story about a relationship between a 12-year-old boy and football coach, has received death threats for being announced to be the next writer of the poem of the week for the children's book week. He wrote this story in 2015 and was accused of being, among other things, a pedophile activist. He defended himself by saying that this was actually an experience he actually had, and it was based on true experiences of acquaintances of him, and were not indeed a sexual fantasy being written out in story form.
So what's he being touted for? He's being the poem of the year or something? What?
He is been picked to write a poem for the Children's Book Week. But because of his previous existence as writing the story about a pedophilic relationship...
I've heard the story, but who is he being picked by? What country? Who? What? Who?
I told you it's Dutch entertainment news.
Dutch.
So,
Country. This.
yeah. Several people from the literary world are defending Lammers and asking that people separate fiction from nonfiction. And have actually revealed that they think people no longer can distinguish the difference between both because of, I think, rampant lies that are getting spread over social media. People believe everything they read as a truth, and they can't understand that there's this make-believe world where nothing ever happens. Imagination is dead to some people. They only see, oh, this happened. Somebody was hurt by this.
Yeah. You can't write something that actually happened because you're just trying to become an advocate for something. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I can't get with people like this. I don't even know what the fuck they're even talking about. I don't even know what they're talking about. I have no idea what they're talking about. The same goddamn people that said rock and roll lyrics cause suicide. Really? Really? Why hasn't Ozzy Osbourne committed suicide yet? Dude's still living. Wasn't he sued for some kid 60 years ago, whose parents abused him for 15 years? Oh my God, we totally ignored our kid for 15 years and they committed suicide. Wow, what a shock. And they blame the music. So it's really nothing new. Parents don't know how to do it, don't know what they're doing, so they want to blame everybody else.
Yeah, it's really hard to be responsible for another life, especially when you, some cases, right, you don't choose it kind of just happens, and then you're like, well, now I'm lawfully required to take care of this child, or I can abandon it, and they get arrested for abandoning my child.
And I don't know if people realize this, but children are quite stupid. They're born not knowing a damn thing, so you got to tell them everything. Literally, you have to tell them everything. Tie their shoes, walking, all that stuff. They're completely clueless. All right, go ahead.
No, it's you can do your this week or whatever you want to say.
This week in history, Shirley Temple died in 2014. Not a whole lot happened on this day in history, I guess. Birthdays, good Lord. George Stephanopoulos is the biggest name. Bertolt Brecht, German writer, dramatist. Not a whole lot going on.
Really, there's not a lot happened today.
I do have my top 10 list for today. That's more than 10 probably. Top 10, where is it? I did have it. Let me get back to you on that. I did make the list and somebody ate it. The dog ate my list. No, here we go. The top 10 sexually ambiguous characters in television history. You ready?
Androgynous.
Androgynous, not necessarily androgynous, just sexually ambiguous. Okay. Uncle Arthur, for instance, Uncle Arthur on Bewitched. Was he gay? I mean, was Paul Lynde, was he? Acted a little gay. Now, number 9, you'll get the list on number 9. Smithers on The Simpsons. They're always hinting that he's gay. So you get where I'm going with this. Number 8, the Skipper and Gilligan on Gilligan's Island. Hello, guys. Ginger and Marianne are there, and you guys are just with each other all the time. Okay. Number 7, Jack Tripper, Three's Company. Pretended he was gay, but he really sold it. Number 6, Peppermint Patty and Marcy, the Peanuts. She called him Sir. I called her Sir. Him, her. She called Peppermint Patty Sir. And she was a really good baseball player. Peppermint Patty, the first cartoon lesbian. Number 5, Corporal Klinger from MASH. Wore a dress to get out of the army. Number 4, Pat. Saturday Night Live character by Julie Sweeney. Legitimately, no one knew who Pat was. Number 3, Velma, Scooby-Doo, recently came out of the closet in cinema, but in the cartoon, there was always that, Velma was asexual. Number 2, Ernie and Bert, Sesame Street. Come on, guys, we know. And number 1, Lassie. Lassie was a boy.
Lassie was, yeah, I mean.
Oh, every Lassie was a boy. If there had more than one Lassie, I think there was only one, actually.
That's a classic example of animals, right? You never really assign, well, actually, I want to say a lot of people have a tendency to assign gender to animals depending on what they're doing. And generally, people, I think, want dogs to be male and cats to be female, right? Because those behaviors are also tightly associated with humans, human males and human females, right?
Lassie as a male, well, first of all, probably the dog trainer, right, decided that these are my best dogs and I'm training these dogs. That's probably all it boils down to. And they all were males and they all look same, similar color pattern. Because the males look like that. Females are brown. Female collies are completely brown. That's all. I mean, I didn't have a whole lot to add to it. I think most people who watched the show knew he was male.
I think famously for me, I don't know if you know. Let me get it real quick. I don't know if you remember this particular character here, which I still have. Blue from Blue's Clues is famously a female dog. And for the longest time, because of our gender association, I believe this blue color, when I was growing up, was 100% identified with boys. Hence my confusion when I found out she
was a she. And he was calling her a she the whole time too.
Yeah, but I was a toddler, I was 6. For me, it was always boy, boy, boy. And Magenta, of course, which was the other dog, was actually a boy dog, I believe. So they switched around. They were trying to change the gender stereotypes here.
They were trying to deprogram you, and you didn't work. It didn't catch. You were still going down that wrong path, thinking, why is Blue lifting his leg when he pees?
That never happened in the show, but yeah. And in my final
following down the path, he would be in front of you. Okay, never mind.
Yeah. In my final Dutch news, I don't know if you heard about the farmer riots that were happening last year, because everyone was so bored in the pandemic that they wanted, this is my opinion, they were bored and they're like, let's get angry about something that has been planned for 10 years, right? Usually you sign these environmental agreements and then you say, we're going to give you 10 years to lower your amount of nitrogen, right? And then the 10-year mark came up and they said, wait, you guys haven't been doing it, so now we're going to enforce you to actually do it, right? That's what happened. And then all the farmers got angry even though they knew about this information 10 years ago or 5 years ago, right?
You give people time.
Yeah.
They'll take all of it. Yeah.
So right now farmers are currently getting restricted from which ditches they can spread their manure by, right? Famously, you spread manure so you can increase the growth of your crops and the field, and also just to get rid of it, because if it piles up, it creates deadly gas.
And they're polluting the groundwater too.
Yeah. But they're specifically getting told which ditches they are not allowed to do that near. But the farmers are saying that they're confused. It's unclear which field is not allowed to spread against which ditch, because there's a lot of ditches. I don't know if you know this. I don't know if you remember seeing them when you came to visit. We don't use fences here. We use ditches as fences. Most animals are like, I'm not going down that really steep hill and there's water down there. I'm good. And they don't want to drink it either, because they can smell that you shouldn't drink it. So most animals stay in their pens even without a fence. Most fences are more designed for people not to come in, not for animals. Many farmers have pointed out to us that there is a difference between our digital system and reality. They can't be victims of that. Edema of the Ministry of Agriculture explains. The farmers must determine themselves which fertilizer rule their ditches fall under and report this themselves, because there's too many farms in the country for them to be perfectly accurate in, oh no, not that ditch, not this ditch. Ditch maps are very important, especially after this manure regulation was started earlier last year. Edema is hoping that this would have been done until 2024. The EC, the European Commission, has actually canceled it and must now be done by March 1st. They've lost all their time to follow this rule.
What kind of fertilizer are they using? They using manure, you said?
Yes, manure. A lot of cow and horse, and sheep and pig. Just all of them.
All that manure is different, you know, because they all have different digestive systems. I mean, cows don't digest food at all. It just passes through them.
Yes.
I mean, they chew it 4 times, but they don't really digest it. Just chew it. That's their digestion. They don't have stomach acid. So it's basically what they're passing through is just organic material that's been broken down. It hasn't been put through acid bath like ours does. You know, we got stomach acid. So I think cow manure is more like probably a better fertilizer, safer fertilizer.
Yeah. And
their diet's all vegetarian, so you don't have to worry about microbes from meat getting into it.
Yeah. Do you have any
all right,
other
then
news?
We're 30 minutes, huh?
Anything happening in the sports sphere?
A lot of trades. Kevin Durant went to the Phoenix Suns in about there were so many trades yesterday, it's ridiculous. We can't even cover it, but it was a trade deadline. A whole bunch of people are getting rid of players too. What they do is they trade for players who have contracts they can cancel or buy out, and it clears space on their salary cap. So they'll bring in these veteran players and cut them. Not cut them, but they'll agree to buy out their contracts, and some other team will pick them up. So it's not even done yet. That's what's really going on. Super Bowl's happening. This is the least type Super Bowl I've ever seen. I just don't think there's a whole lot of interest in it. I mean, it's probably because the teams involved, Kansas City and Philadelphia, they're not marquee teams in the NFL. Which, when a lot of people say the NFL conspires to have teams be in the Super Bowl, I don't think they do. I think gamblers do. I don't think the NFL does, because why would they have Kansas City and Philadelphia? If those are to be the two biggest, those aren't the 2 biggest cities. Those aren't the 2 most popular franchises. Anyway, that's not a lot going on.
I was hearing that as well. A lot of people on my social media were saying, "Why are these 2 teams? I didn't expect this. What's going on? I'm very confused." I made it because I think one person I was following said I made a joke when I said they would get the Super Bowl. I wasn't serious. I don't know anything about the team, so I have nothing else to say. I didn't know if they were gonna actually make it, so.
They were probably not really following it. It's just sometimes the team makes it that's just deserving. And there weren't a lot of good teams this year. That's true. It was a terrible season. If you want to watch football this season, good luck. Every game was terrible. I couldn't sit through them. They were awful. They were poorly played. I'd say roughly out of 32 teams, I would say they let 14 teams in the playoffs. There were not 14 playoff teams. There was maybe 10. Most teams were legitimately bad, just awful, terrible teams. Most of them. That's more than half were bad teams. Bad teams.
Oh, your camera froze for some reason. Oh no, it just froze again. On that note, this has been Before Coffee with Allison and
Roger! And happy weekend, everybody. We'll see you on the week that was.
All right, see you next time.
I'm all pixelized.
Be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and notify buttons, and follow our other channels, Toxic Alley, History of Gravy, and Scratchy Old Records.